Hey everybody, my name is Charles and I live in South Bend, Indiana. I decided to sit down and make a video about my life and some of the struggles that I've been through. But something I need to say first to my sister Kim. I want to tell you that I love you, and please understand that this video is just part of my life, that I'm not angry or upset with you about any part that you played in it. We were kids, and I know that it wasn't your fault, and I know that it was just kids being kids, and I just want to say I love you. So please, please understand that you didn't have anything to do with this. So with that being said, I decided I wanted to make a video a couple years ago actually. I have been struggling to tell my story, kind of one out of embarrassment, and two because I didn't want my sister to think that I blamed her, because I don't. As I said, it was just kids being kids, and kids at school just didn't understand, didn't ask, just assumed. And so that's why what happened to me. Anyway, when we were younger, we lived up in Michigan. We were raised up there for quite a big part of our life. And then once I reached, I don't know, I think about 12 years old, we moved up to the Mishawaka area and started going to school up there. In Michigan, we were kind of raised naive. Things that I'd never heard of, certain words like fag, queer, gay I'd heard of, but I thought gay was happy, stuff like that. And so anyway, when we moved up to Mishawaka, we went to school up there. And it kind of all began when I started going to school there. I remember this one year in the 6th grade, I think it was, we were doing this, the teacher at the end of the year before we left for the school break, summer break, she decided to hand out awards. And so she elected a party of kids to be a board and decide what type of awards they were going to hand out. And anyway, so the kids started handing out the awards, and you had to go up front of the classroom to pick up the award. Some kids were awarded for smartest reader, smartest speller, best in math, so forth. But I got elected for most feminine walk. And I was humiliated. I had to walk up to the front of the classroom and pick up this reward, which wasn't an award at all. It was an embarrassment, while everybody laughed and made fun of me. I was just a kid. And the teacher had seen all the awards that were going to be given before they were handed out. And she should have identified that this one was a bad thing and embarrassing, especially for a boy. But she didn't. Instead, she decided to allow it, and I was humiliated. So, anyway, that was just kind of the beginning of being teased and so forth. Well, then we went into the 7th grade. 7th grade was kind of tough for me. I was kind of small, skinny. I was a late bloomer. I was mainly in class and gym classes with the football players and stuff like that. So it was kind of tough for me. I felt uncomfortable around them. And you know, after being teased and everything in elementary school, I didn't want to be teased in junior high too. So it was tough for me to make friends. We were only there about 3 months, and then we moved to a different school zone. My mom had purchased a house out in the Osceola area. And so we went to a new school. So I figured a fresh start, great. I can make some friends, actually enjoy school. So school started out good. It was decent. My sister Kim and I both went there. And a few months into it, my sister had developed quite a few friends. She was very popular. My sister was very outgoing, very friendly, easy to get along with, while I was a little bit more shyer, a little more difficult to make friends. So anyway, I had a few friends and stuff like that, but my sister had told her friends that her brother was gay. And we did. We had a brother who was gay. Our brother Daryl was gay. And anyway, apparently they ran with that. They automatically assumed it was me. At that time, I didn't even know I was gay myself. I've always known since I was 5 years old that there was something different about me. What it was, I have no clue. But I knew there was. So, anyway, I wound up automatically being accused of being gay. My sister left. She didn't even finish the school year out. She went to live with my dad. For whatever reason it was. But unfortunately, I had to live with that through the rest of my school year, through 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way until I graduated high school. I was picked on. I was called queer, faggot, homo, you name it. It was tough. I wound up not making many friends. I only had a handful of friends, maybe 5, 10. Nobody really wanted to be my friend, because automatically if they were my friend, they were being accused of being gay or lesbian. So a lot of people didn't even want to be my friend because they didn't want to be known as my friend, I guess, or accused of being gay or homosexual themselves. So it was kind of tough. I never told my family that I was going through this. I was too embarrassed or too ashamed. I didn't want anybody to know that I was being picked on. So I just kind of lived with it and dealt with it for many years. I dealt with it through entire high school, but the sad part about it was I didn't deal well with it. I missed a lot of days in school. I had gone to teachers to try to get help, and they wouldn't help me. I went to the school counselor and talked to the school counselor, and she told me it was my own fault because of the way I dressed, and because I was kind of feminine. I guess I really hadn't realized I was feminine. But I wasn't girly. I didn't stand out, like screaming queen. I mean, I didn't even know then that I was gay. I hadn't come to terms with it at that point. But nobody would help me. So I missed a lot of days of school. One year I actually missed 104 days of school just so that I didn't have to be there. It was tough. I tried everything I could to make it work, but the more I tried, the more I hated it. So, as far as my dress went, I mean, I dressed as plain as I possibly could. The reason being is because I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be noticed. I wanted to be invisible. I sat in the back of the classrooms, hoping that I would never get called on, that nobody would see me. Nobody would know my name. I just didn't want anybody to know me. Because if they saw me, they made fun of me. If a teacher called on me, I was nervous and I would fidget, or I was so nervous that I wouldn't give the right answers, or I would stumble. I would literally feel like I was going to jump out of my skin because I didn't like being in front of people or talking to people. Every day for me to be in school was a struggle. Sorry, guys. I just so badly wanted to just be invisible, so no one could see me. Because they couldn't see me, they couldn't hurt me. But as the years went by in school, it got worse. It started being to the point to where I couldn't even ride the bus home from school or to school without being called faggot or queer. So as I went through my junior years, once again I had mainly football players and jocks and track stars and stuff in my gym class and stuff, and I was very uncomfortable being around them. So I would find a locker as far as away from everybody as I could so that I could dress and undress in private. I didn't want to be teased. I'd already been teased enough as it was for everything else. I mean, at that time I really didn't even understand it or know myself, my own body, what I was going through to even accept it. It was tough. Anyway, as junior high went through, went into high school, and was kind of hoping with high school that things would change a little bit, but it didn't. It excelled and got worse. I missed a lot of days in high school. Once again, I tried to talk to teachers and counselors. And the only teacher that would help me was my art teacher. And he told me that to be strong and not to be weak. Because if I showed weakness, they would tease me and pick on me even more. It was a struggle because I had already been beaten down so much that I just couldn't stand up for myself. But high school was worse. I got hit, I got tripped, shoved into lockers, knocked down, called faggot, queer, in front of teachers, in front of large groups of people. I couldn't even ride the bus home. In the morning when I got picked up, I was one of the first kids picked up, so I would always get a seat. And I would sit up against the window so the people couldn't see me, and it was dark usually in the morning. But on the way home, it was a race to get to the bus and get a seat, and it always seemed like nobody wanted to sit with me. And if there wasn't a seat available, people wouldn't let me sit with them because they didn't want to be assumed or associated with somebody that was called gay, queer, faggot. So nobody really wanted to sit with me. So we lived probably about 3-4 miles away from school. So every day I would just automatically walk home. Even in the winter, I would dress warm and walk home because I didn't want to be embarrassed. The few times that I did ride the bus in the 10th grade and stuff like that, there was this kid on the bus who would always stand up and call me queer and faggot in front of everybody, and the bus driver would never do anything about it. And I got tired of being embarrassed and humiliated. So I just walked home. In my junior year and my senior year, they gave you the options of, if you had enough credits, you could do a work-study program and leave school on a half day or a couple hours early. And so I worked at the YMCA, and so that's what I did, is I did a work-study program and took half days so I didn't have to be in school that long. My mom worked a full-time job, and I had brothers and sisters at home that I had to help take care of. And my mom was a single mom, and she was struggling, so I worked to help pay bills, keep food on the table, and make sure that at Christmas time my mom had enough money to buy gifts for my brothers and sisters. You know, it was horrible going through school, and I got picked on pretty bad. But the reason that I'm telling my story is because as bad as it was for me back then, and as humiliating as it was for me back then, kids today, it's so much worse than I ever did. I just wanted to be invisible. I didn't want to kill myself like kids today do. I never told any of my family any of this story or any of my other friends, because as an adult, something happened and my life changed. I became responsible, more outgoing, made a lot of friends over the years. And the few friends that I have told this story to are kind of shocked that I would allow this to happen to me because of how outgoing and outspoken that I am now. But it took a lot of time and a lot of years to get there. And so it's kind of a struggle for me to think about what happened to me as a kid, and it's rough for me to think about what kids are going through today. Nobody deserves to be picked on, bullied, criticized. Everybody has the right to be who they are. Everybody has the right to express who they are. Nobody has the right to judge or condemn anybody. Nobody gets to choose whether or not they're gay or straight. We don't get in a line and a menu board and decide, oh, I want to be gay. Can I have blue eyes? Can I have brown hair? It's not that simple. You know, they say that God doesn't make any mistakes. But He made me. And He made all the rest of us in this world. He made all of us equal. He made all of us brothers and sisters. He gave us all the ability to know the difference between right and wrong, and the ability to love one another. And so many people out there are too busy judging people for who they are, condemning them for who they are. Instead of passing judgment and looking at everybody else, pointing fingers, maybe you need to look in your own backyard. Maybe you need to decide what you need to do for yourself and not worry about what somebody else is doing. The reason I decided to make this video was because of a kid named Jamie Rodemeyer. A couple years ago, I saw the advertisement for the It Gets Better website on a commercial during Glee. And I come across his video. It was the first video that popped up. And I watched it, and it was so touching. Amazing young guy. But But he wound up committing suicide a year after I saw the video. And sorry guys. Oh my gosh. Nobody should ever have to feel like they have to kill themselves just so they can be who they are. Bullies only pick on people who are weak. And they do it because they have their own issues, their own struggles, and because they want to look popular. And apparently they have their own issues that they need to work out. But unfortunately, instead of looking at their own issues and their own miserable lives, they want to make somebody else's miserable. Over the years, since I graduated high school, I didn't even go to my graduation because I didn't want to walk up in front of everybody and be nervous and trip and fall or something crazy like that. So I skipped my own graduation just because I didn't want to be humiliated. So I got my diploma and stuff in the mail. But it's been a struggle over the years. I've made good friends. I've made a lot of friends. I've had friends come and go. I didn't tell my mom that I was gay until I was 23. I finally started realizing it when I was 15. My brother Daryl, who was gay, who I mentioned earlier, I told his partner before I told my brother, because I didn't want my brother to tell my family. They accepted me, and I was glad for that. They helped to mentor me so that I didn't go on to the wrong path, because so many young kids who have nobody to look up to, who have no mentor, who are just totally lost and feel like they're alone in the world, go the wrong way, the wrong path, and bad things happen. They get hooked on drugs, alcohol. Some are very promiscuous, sleep around, wind up with HIV. I was lucky to have my brother and his partner to help me through it, to kind of help me guide me. So I'm thankful for that. And more people need to reach out to kids that are struggling and try to help them with their life. And just not kids who are gay or lesbian or transgender or bisexual. For all kinds of issues. Kids are picked on for their hair color, their skin tone, or for being Asian or a different race. Maybe their hair is too big or too fuzzy. Maybe their chin is not right, or they're not as attractive as somebody else. But you know what? We're all unique. We're all different for a reason. That's what makes the world go around. If we were all the same, life would suck. That means we all would have created the car. We all would have created the phone. We all would have created the computer. No. It's because of those unique individuals. That's why we have the things that we have, because they were different. You know, I look at my life now, and I think to myself, is there anything I would do different? And I would love to have had a better childhood as far as school went. I had a very loving family, When I did come out, my mom accepted me. It was over a breakup. That's how she found out. The guy that I was dating cheated on me with somebody, and it broke my heart. My mom caught me crying, and she asked me to tell her what was wrong, and I told her no, that I didn't want to tell her. And she told me why, and I asked me why, and I just said, because Mom, I said, you'll be mad at me, and you'll hate me. And my mom looked at me and she said, you're my son, I could never hate you. She said, more than likely I already know what you're going to tell me, so you just may as well tell me. So I told her, I said, Mom, I said I'm like Daryl, and Ray was my partner, and we just broke up. And my mom looked at me, and she told me that I deserved better, and that she loved me, and that a mother always knows. And she hugged me and told me I was going to be okay. From that moment on, my mom, we were already best friends, but from that moment on, our connection was even better because I didn't have to lie to her anymore, and I felt good. And my mom educated herself about gay issues, gay people, anything that had to do with the gay lifestyle. She educated herself, and I love her for that, and I appreciate that. So it was very comforting to know that I had a supportive mom. My mom passed away November 1st, 2000. I miss her every day. So, anyway, over the years I've had a few boyfriends here and there. I've always been relationship oriented. I think it's very important to try to find someone that you love and try to make a relationship out of that, and not sleep with anybody and everybody. So another reason I've decided to make this video is because you're probably all wondering, how does my story end? In February, let's just say 6 years ago, I started talking to somebody that I found very interesting, kind, sweet, humble, very cute and attractive, very nice guy. But we just chatted online, and then went to texting. But I never thought that this individual would ever even talk to me, even be my friend, give me the time of day. But about 3.5 years ago, him and I decided to actually finally meet, and so we did. The nightclub here in town in Mishawaka was closing down for good. I went out of business, and we decided to meet that night at the club. So he showed up with some friends, and I came with some friends, and I met him for the first time. And he was so delightful and cute and sweet and kind. He was so drunk that night. And I remember he kept looking at me and going, so what you doing? he just kept saying that. It's so cute. So I was very attracted to him, and instantly just mesmerized by him. So we spent the next few years, next 3 years, getting to know each other and hanging out with each other and talking. And about 2 years ago, I realized I was madly in love with him. I hung on his every word. I loved hearing his voice. I loved everything about him. He's the most amazing person I've ever met in my entire life. Just so kind and sweet, good heart, very humble, and just, sorry guys, just an amazing person to be around. He has inspired me over the last few years to do so much that I had just given up on. He showed me that I could fall in love again, and that I could finally feel loved and feel safe again. I haven't felt loved by anyone since my mom passed away. But he makes me feel safe, and he makes me feel loved. And he's an amazing person. I never thought ever for 1 second he'd ever even give me the opportunity to get to know him. But he did, and I'm so thankful for that. In February of this year, he asked me to marry him. And it was the happiest day in my entire life. I had struggled so many years for so many different things, for being picked on and bullied. It was like my wildest dream finally was coming true. That he wanted to marry me. I knew that we were on the path to getting to know each other better and such. So when he asked me to marry him, it was kind of a shock, but I was happy. And we got married February 26th. But I'd been walking on air ever since. It was the happiest day of my life to finally marry him. If you had asked me 6 years ago, 3 years ago, if you'd asked me last year, I never ever would have thought in my wildest dream that he would have asked me to marry him. He's the most amazing man in the entire world. So, once again, how does my story end? I don't know. The last 4 weeks we've been struggling. He finally moved into the house. He'd been looking for a job in the area for quite some time. And he finally found one, and about four weeks ago he moved in the house. But he dropped a bombshell on me, and it's a struggle every day. He's not sick, and I'm not sick, just to make that clear. But people say I should end it, but I refuse to. I don't believe that when you truly love somebody, that you give up on him. I love him with all my heart and soul. And I'll do anything for him. But my husband is an amazing man, and I love him. And I know that right now he's misguided, and I hope and pray that he realizes what he's doing and comes to his senses. So I don't know what happens in my story. I thought it was going to be a happy ending, and I was looking forward to that. But unfortunately, I can't say that it is. Anyway, maybe I'll make another video and update everybody, and hopefully all will turn out well. And I just want to say that I love you, Pedro Melchor Morales, with all my heart and soul. Thank you for sharing my life with me and making me a part of yours. You have forever changed my life, and I will forever be grateful for you, and I will always love you. Bye, guys.